show us here locally in the community. Make sure y'all go check out New Cat Bodies by Jeremy Campbell.
Good morning and welcome to Lions Talk with Smokin Jeremy B, because Dan Von Doom is missing in action. Maybe he'll pop in, maybe he won't. Don't care. The show must go on. The first order of business I want to talk about is right here. Dan the Gambler Campbell, NFC 2023 NFC Coach of the Year for the 101st Football Awards. What do you guys think about that? All right, I'm going to go back through the chat real quick before I get into my next topic. I just wanted to show you guys how great it is to be a Lions fan, to know we got a coaching staff like this. It's amazing. Dwayne Keene, good morning, all. Let's go, Detroit Lions. One pride. If you smell what the Lions is cooking this evening, Sunday evening, kicking San Francisco's ass and moving on to the Super Bowl, NFC North Division title. No, why? Good morning. It's a great day to be a Lion. One pride. How you doing? Fred Peterson, Dwayne Keene. Glad to see y'all here. And if you're out there on Facebook, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on YouTube to Foot Main Event 365 and also my channel, which is soon to be rebranded. T-minus 4 days away. It's Thursday. That's Monday. I am doing my post-game show. Might be postponed a day. I normally do it on Mondays, but it's the second anniversary of my podcast itself, and it'll be the first three weeks straight of being here. I love doing this. I love talking with the fans. I love reaction to them. Yeah, Jim Harbaugh, that was announced yesterday. I'm happy for him. He did exactly what he said he would do for Michigan. It took him longer than most fans expected, and that's fine. Kudos to him. He's back in the NFL, coaching in the AFC West. He's not in the NFC, so we only got to see him once every 4 years or in the playoffs. Notice what I did there in the playoffs, AFC Super Bowl. Colors next year are blue and yellow for the Super Bowl logo. Coincidence? All right. That being said, I'm going to get into the next one. Kyle Shanahan had some interesting things to say about our Detroit Lions. Is anybody interested in what he had to say? Because I think it's very interesting to hear what opposing coaches say about our team, so that we we don't look like big homers when we talk about how good our team is. You can see why they're here. Their defense runs around, hits, and plays with a lot of energy. Got a number of playmakers over there, and then their offense is as good as it gets. They've got a great O line, a great quarterback, two great running backs, a great tight end, and a bunch of good wideouts. That play They play the right way. They say spelled out that whoever transcribed it isn't very intelligent. They play the right way in a hell of a scheme. It's pretty obvious to see why they've been so good this year. Shanahan was asked about Detroit's cornerbacks in particular on Wednesday. He said they are an aggressive bunch. Being an aggressive bunch can lend itself to giving up big plays. But Shanahan was quick to point out how Detroit ranks 4th in negative plays caused, and Detroit is top 5 in the NFL in takeaways over the last 5 games. Being aggressive and opportunistic on defense paired with a terrific offense is a dangerous combination. Per Shanahan. Girl, Brent DeWitt, I think the best part of the reason MCDC coaches the way he does sometimes is because he doesn't want to possibly leave the game in the hands of the refs, and I agree with that mindset. Uh, Fred Peterson said, "Yes, I am. Sorry, very busy at work today. Probably not going to comment a lot. That's okay. Tune in, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. We love you guys." Uh, Dwayne Keene, if we play well and take care of the ball, and when we have the ball, get points, 6 or 3 when we need them, no matter, just need them. Yeah, it's the truth. But at the same time, if it's a close game and we're at that midfield part where it's hard for Foxy to keep the punt out of the end zone, but too far to let Badgley in an 8-mile-an-hour wind kick it, guess what? I bet you we're going for it on 4th down if it's less than 5 yards. Or we'll take the penalty and move back and make it a better punt for Foxy. Because that's smart football. That's that gray area that everybody talks about in the middle of the field. It depends on the scoring situation, Dwayne. If we're up by more than a touchdown, he will not go for it. He'll take the delay of game. We've seen him do it. George Kittle even had some good comments. When he was on the McAfee show, he said the way they play, you can tell that everything Dan Campbell preaches, this team is. It's not fake. They are gritty. They are going to outwork you. They are going to out effort you. And remember, we almost came back and beat them in 2021, week 1 when we played them. They were up. What was it? I'm trying to remember. 34. They were up 34-13, and we came back and made it a game. Onside kicks, going for it on 4th down. It was an amazing little run there. We scored like 30 points or 20 points in the 4th quarter. I do. I trust our coach. I am not. I'm not saying that, James Luke. Why do you always think I'm being negative? I'm saying positive things here. You come in and always be. Any word on Deebo? They still have not yet let him practice at all, which is way different than what we dealt with Laporta's knee. And remember, he's injured the shoulder he already had surgery on to repair a broken shoulder blade. Granted, the X-rays are negative, but I don't know if he plays, and I almost wouldn't let him play if I was coaching. It it could be our time. The game has to be played. That's all I got to say. Good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah, because if he plays and he's not 100%, and they put Kirby on him for one good hit, mm-mm-mm. Seems to me this will be another trench and turnover game. We win those 2 battles, we should win the game. Absolutely, Brent. I agree with that 150%. Hell, 1,000%. Our O line is better than their O line. Our D line isn't as good as theirs. It's a matter of who breaks first. Henry Gray, good morning. It is great to see y'all here. I like addressing the people this way. I sometimes like to throw the chat up, but I just like to address it right away because then you don't miss it. This is such an amazing time for us Lions fans. I mean, we're not used to this. This is uncharted territory for 90% of us. Gary Nebo, go Lions. Absolutely, sir. It, I don't know how to act. I literally don't. As a podcaster and a fan, I don't know how to act. We haven't been here. We haven't been this good before. in our lifetime. And since the Super Bowl era, we have never been this good. And somebody posted about the logos and they forgot that they dropped the Hero Jackson. The only one we don't trust is Matt Patricia and Boob Quinn. And then, of course, the Matt Millen years. And don't forget, throw Mayhew in there. He may have put together good teams, but he would trade people away or let them walk and not even try to fight to keep them. Brent DeWitt, I predicted Baker would throw 2 picks, and I'm predicting the same for Purdy. But from your lips to God's ears, because they don't win when he throws picks. And now I'm going to get to where I'm talking about more about the 49ers for a minute. And it's not to overload them. I'm saying my observations and what I've seen all season. The 49ers have better starting talent on their roster overall in every position than what the Lions have. And that's not a knock on the Lions. Do not mistake what I'm saying. But it looks like they will be missing 3 key pieces on Sunday. Erik Armstead, D-line, and linebacker Greenlaw are injured. Haven't played a down in practice this week. And it doesn't say rest days next to their name. Don't forget, they're also missing Hifanga, their superstar safety. So he's been injured since week 12 and on the IR. And now possibly Deebo Samuel. The defensive players they're missing is bigger than the Deebo thing to me. Because Erik Armstead is another wrecking crew guy that they use from the interior to help Bosa and the other defensive linemen. And with him being out, that might ease up the middle of the field for the running game for David Montgomery, who is the one that usually feasts through the middle. He's our guy that gets us our 4 yards to 5 yards per carry right through the center. And with him being out, I'd shade to whatever side he's missing from because the other guy's pretty damn good. Holmes and Campbell are the best GM and coach I've ever seen. And I agree with that, Justin Weber. I mean, I can't remember who the other than Wayne Fonts, back with Barry Sanders, Monty Clark before that. But there was a lot of people in between that are just, and she legally dropped Ford from her name. It's Sheila Hamp. I need to stop seeing that. It's been 2 years since she legally changed her name. And I am tired of everybody bringing back up she's a Ford because she doesn't want Ford in her name. She did that to get rid of it. It's huge that everybody recognizes that and acknowledges it because I'm sick of the media doing it and I'm sick of fans doing it. I mean, when somebody legally changes their name, that means they are trying to change the culture. And she has changed the culture, and we should respect her decision. Richard Sherman keeps disrespecting our Lions. Every show I see him on, I can't wait for the Lions to splash egg all over his annoying face. Absolutely. David Montgomery and Gibbs need to have good games. I say between David Montgomery and Gibbs, they are going to have over 100 yards with at least 1 touchdown, hopefully 2. Hey, we had 2 last week, and Monty wasn't the one. Damn it! If he'd have, I just needed him to get 1 touchdown, and they put Craig Reynolds in on that 4th and 1 play. It pissed me off. You know why? It took my $5 bet and made it a $5 loss instead of a $4,000 gain on my parlay. 49ers are going down 28-21. We're taking over San Francisco. Paint that town grit, Honolulu blue. Believe it or not, overnight, ticket sales for the San Francisco game has went from 18% sales at the beginning of the week to 22% overnight. That's a huge boost. Think about that because stars buy more playoff games, which means there's less regular fans there. It's the way it always goes. So to go from 18 to 22%, that means we're at almost a quarter of the field right there. Plus, not only mentioning the fans that are not normally there and not the normal rah guys. Richard Shyman play for 49ers. He going to talk shit about the Lions. Yeah, he is. That's what he's supposed to do. It's no different than CJGJ and what's going on between him and Deebo since last year at the NFC Championship game. They've been jawing at each other for a year now, and they're back at it again. And if anybody watched my show before, they know I said this signing might be the push, whether he plays all season or not, because he hasn't had a lot of injuries. This might be the push to get us to that game. The fact he took less money to come to Detroit and leave the Eagles says everything you should want to know about this coaching staff and this team. Eagles offered him almost 10 million a year. He signed here for 6 people. That's a huge thing. When superstar people who are considered superstar talent take less to go to another team when they just went to the Super Bowl with the other one. I see 29 people liking and only 7 liking and 28 watching. Get those likes up. It's absolutely free. It only takes a second to smash the button. I'm not going to do the wrestling stuff. I'm not Russell Wayne. I'm smoking Jeremy B. And all I know is I feel sorry a little bit for those fans of the teams, of the other ones that we've beaten or have lost in the playoffs. And while they sit on the couch, I want them to remember one thing. Much butter I sent in you. Cry like bitch you should. Ride the pine, bitches. Watch from the couch, just like the Vikings, just like the Bears, just like the Packers. You hate us because you ain't us. Uh, I'm not going to call Jared Goff the best quarterback. You know what he is? He's the best quarterback for the system right now. He knows the playbook. He's our starter, been our starter all season, been doing good. I am not knocking Jared Goff at all, but I will not say he's the best quarterback. Facebook user says, "What's up, brother?" Yeah. Fred Peterson says, "Oh, this has got to be put up. It's good. You hate us because you ain't us." That's great. Oh, it's Woody. Is that the Wild and Woody show? We have won more playoff games in the 2020s than the Vikings. Oh, that didn't take much. All it took was beating one team. That's all it took. Because those frauds won won the division, went to the playoffs, and lost to the Giants. Best Lions quarterback, yes, but I'm not calling him the best in the NFL. That's what I was getting at. What I like about Jared Goff, he's way better. He is way better at managing the game than any quarterback we've had. John Kitna couldn't do it. Jeff Garcia couldn't do it. Dante Culpepper was a joke. By the time he got here, he looked like he ate at an all day eating cheeseburger contest and decided, I'm not going to work out. Um, the GM that was here back in '98, worst GM ever. I'm going to take Terry Fair, a punt returning corner, over Randy Moss out of Marshall because I don't like him. Jabiri Harper. Congrats to you, Lions fans. Coming from a diehard Falcons fan, I'm happy for y'all. And that has to be our second worst GM. NFC North should be one of the tougher divisions next year, I think. They are already the tougher division. Everybody doesn't realize the only division in football that had more total wins than the NFC North was the AFC North, the best division in football. NFC North is the second best division in football and the best conference in the NFC. Goff is way more MVP than Lamar. They're the number one seed for a reason. They whooped the shit out of us for a reason. Um, I mean, we were better than every other team if you total it up. Even better than the NFC West that had two playoff teams like us to start. The I mean, the Giants and the Commanders were so bad that the East couldn't pass us up with two 12 game winners or 12 and 11 game winner. Our, it's nuts. Yeah, the worst is GM. Second worst was the guy that took Terry Fair over Randy Moss. You can't tell me anything ever about a GM being good when you make a mistake like that. And then you'd have to throw Bob Quinn at third worst because he sure as hell could draft O linemen. Just don't trust him to draft any other position because otherwise Taylor Decker, Jonah Jackson, and Ragnow would not be our starters on the O line if he wasn't good at drafting O linemen. And look at Lakin Tomlinson. We just didn't give him enough chance to develop. In his third season, just before Mayhew was fired, he trades him to the 49ers. And lo and behold, the next offseason, Mayhew is the assistant GM of the 49ers. Trinity Provost says, "Go Lions." Richard Corpus says, "Let's freaking go." Yes, it is that time. We are 3 days away from knowing if we advance to the Super Bowl. Just to say that the Lions have that shot in the third year of a rebuild, when we stripped it to the studs in 2021, we couldn't win a game for 10 games straight in 2021. And here we are talking about we have a chance to go to the fucking Super Bowl. How great is this to be a fan of this team at this time in your life? Ashley Jackson says, "This is cute." Hmm. Who was in charge of picking Young over Stroud? Does he still have a job? No. David Tepper made sure that butthead was fired along with the coach at that time. Wow. That was Frank Reich. Frank Reich wanted Young over Stroud because of that IQ test. Yeah, let's choose a quarterback over a guy that actually outplayed that kid. Neglect the fact he's 5'4". That's right. That's why most of his passes are completed outside the hash marks because he has to look past the tackles just to see a wide receiver. If they want to make him successful, they need 6'10" wide receivers so he can see their heads over the 6'4" linemen. Stroud, and I called it at the draft. For anybody, I do a draft stream with reactions during the draft. I called CJ Stroud the best quarterback coming out this year that could play in his rookie year because if Hendon Hooker would have stayed healthy, there's no doubt he'd have been the first pick overall over Bryce Young or CJ Stroud in my mind. The guy played 8 games, had 37 touchdowns through the air, 2 interceptions, and 10 on the ground. And the propensity for drafting players each year with an ACL tear that has to take over half a season to recover from. That's the only knock I have on Brad Holmes' draft. But in all actuality, he's still getting gamers with those picks, guys that like to play, that like to ball out, non-turd type players. I don't want to hear that Jamo's a bust because they don't use him enough. Henry Gray, I'm on the exact opposite. You know who we need to face in that first game in that Super Bowl? So far, it looks like Poles wants to stick with Fields, so they might trade back, and I think that's stupid. They should just, if they're going to stay there, they should grab either Joe Alt or Marvin Harrison Jr. at one. because if they're not going to trade back, if they're not going to trade back at one, and I would actually trade back with Washington and let them pick between Drake May and Caleb Williams. Let them take their poison, and then at three, two is going quarterback because that's the what is that? The Commanders. I would trade back with three. Javiri Harper says, I think Chicago's going Caleb Williams. Nope. Ryan Pohl said he's going to build this team around Fields for another year with a new OC. Make him relearn another offense for a fourth consecutive year. I don't think it's going to work. And I'm glad they kept Coach Everluse. That guarantees us one win a season every year. Sometimes two. We swept them 2 years ago. We split them this year. We split the first year. We got a 4-4 record. We're 500 versus Chicago. We swept Minnesota and split with them. And that Jabari Harper, I agree with you. I think they should move on. I heard Washington was willing to give him that first round pick just to get them. Bears are stupid. Drafted Caleb Williams. Why draft a guy that don't? I didn't say they're drafting Caleb Williams. I said they should trade back. And Henry Gray agrees with me. Marvin Harrison Jr. will most likely be a Bear this year. If you trade back to three, you can get Marvin Harrison there because the first two teams are going quarterback. It's almost a lock. I think he could be a bust. I'm not going to call anybody a bust before they ever play it down. That makes about as much sense as saying somebody that hasn't played 3 years in the league a bust. Facebook user, I don't disagree, but just for the situational combo, with them having, I believe, one pick and 9 and an early second, that is basically a first, considering the haul they got for Bryce. They could get the number one, whether they like Caleb, May, or Penix. Caleb, I hope we trade up for Kalen or Jaden. Jaden is the guy that intrigues me the most. Uh, he won the Heisman. He's a gamer out of LSU. LSU produces a lot of wide receiver talent that's good in the NFL, and any quarterback that can play good with them usually means they have somewhat of an NFL pedigree. Um, I just, I don't know. I didn't watch enough of them. I got to watch more game tape. He goes, oh, I forgot he's in the draft. Yeah, there's going to be 3 quarterbacks in the top 5. You watch. And the Bears might not pick any of them. And with me, with one, I'd trade Fields and get that third or whatever, trade back, get another extra first next year because they got a buttload of cap room going forward. Oh, that's funny. I mean, I love you guys. The passion we have for our team and the passion we have for bashing the other teams, it's fun. I mean, the Bears are always going to be the Bears. I love that skit with can't remember his real name, but the guy that played Cliff Clavin on Cheers, John Goodman, and whoever it was from Saturday Night Live, they sit around in the recliners talking about the Bears. Yeah, on Saturday Night Live, it was a great skit. Back when Saturday Night Live was more politically incorrect than they are now, they had to clean themselves up or they wouldn't make it in the politically correct society we got now. Chris Farley. Rest in peace, Chris Farley. Man, talking about gone too soon. They had a bad track with their heavy set guys that did it. Bill Swirsky. God Bears. How you doing, main event? Good to see you in the chat. So where do you guys want to go with this? Where do you want to talk about now? We talked about what Kittle said about the Lions. We talked about what Kyle Shanahan said, and it was pretty glowing, the review that he gave the Lions. And when a opposing coach says he sees why the team is here in this game and they deserve to be here because they embrace the coach's personality, do you know how huge that is? Because us fans have said it. This team is like embracing what Dan Campbell does, but to see that it's been seen from outside in the national media, and yes, again, let me put that up there for everybody in case they missed it. God damn it. I hate this touchpad. I got to get me a mouse. Oh, there's that one. That's always fun. That's my sign for the Packers. Much better. I sent in you. Guy like that you should. But this one here, NFC Coach of the Year for the 101st Football Awards is Dan the Gambler Campbell. How great is that? From another podcast I was listening to this morning, San Francisco fans are nervous about playing the Lions. They should be. This team is exactly what Shanahan said. We're gritty. We're aggressive. We take big swings on defense. The Lions are the number one team for negative plays right now, people, in the playoffs. That's not the Ravens. That's not the 49ers. That's not the freaking Kansas City Chiefs. It is the Detroit Lions. We are also fifth best in takeaways since Dan Campbell put his hands on this defense. Fifth in the league in that span. That's from the Denver game to right now. Tito Merkinson, he covered that. He talked about our corners. He was specifically asked, he goes, it's because they take bigger risks. They're going to get burned. It's what happens. We bracket everybody but one guy, and we make Cam Sutton cover him alone. A number one elite wide receiver on the other team. He's going to get burnt. But we haven't let it beat us. They burn us for a buttload of yards in between. Dan put his hands on the defense after the Chicago loss. He announced he was doing it in the presser. He goes, "It is time for me to put my hands on the defense. It's time to put my stamp on it because I'm tired of this." And ever since then, we have given up 3 red zone touchdowns since. We have been more aggressive. We doubled our pressure rate. We doubled how many sacks we were getting from the first god awful part of the season where we weren't getting any. And yes, some of that has to do with people coming back healthy, but it isn't because James Houston has played a game yet. Because for some reason, even though he was activated last week, we sat him. He must not have been 100%. Why activate him if he's not 100%? Let him go to IR and run with what you got. I don't like that attitude. It's just like everybody calling Broderick Martin a bust who's only played 2 plays and 17 snaps. He's not being used. If they're not being used, they can't be a bust. And he's not hurt. He's not unhealthy. Out of those 17 snaps, 8 snaps he took on a double team and he had 2 tackles for loss. Oh, that means he had positive plays for more than half of his plays when he played, but they don't use him. It confuses me. Consuela says, "Go Lions, one pride." Thank you, Consuela. I mean, when Kyle Shanahan says that's what you do, it's what happens. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching through Motor City Kneecap Biters. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching through Lions Villain Squad, Football, Main Event 365, and also my channel, Kneecap Biting. I know, bro. I know he wasn't. He was a third round pick, but busts can happen. Mr. Attitude in the house, Lee Slankard. Woo! I know Lee. I wonder if Lee recognizes me or not. I feel Aaron Glenn has kept some secrets up his sleeve for the very scenario we are in. I think it's Dan Campbell. Go Lions. Literally, Dan Campbell told us in the presser, he's been the most transparent coach across this league. You can be a bust in any round, Earl Jackson, but you can't be a bust until year 3. That's it. You can look bad your first year and come back. Chantel Brooks, appreciate you. I trust our coach a lot. I do. That's what gives me more faith in this team than any other team I've watched as a Lions fan. I will be at the sold out watch party at Ford Field on Sunday. Go Lions. If you got an extra ticket, I'm hiding in your trunk, Consuela. That thing sold out faster than an introductory OnlyFans discount. I went to go buy tickets and it said gone. I was like, what the? And Earl Jackson says, I trust Dan Campbell more than any Lions coach I ever watched. Aiden Powell, I think big like Dan Campbell. Yeah, I love his aggressive personality. But again, we've seen it. Since we've had the lead, we haven't been going for it as much on 4th down unless it's in a key situation that puts the game out of reach in these playoffs. He's doing it a lot smarter. He's following the analytics. Everybody thinks he just does it on a whim. He really doesn't. He does it at a key time in the game. If they're slightly behind and it's behind the sticks and it looks like they're going to fall behind, they will go for it. They will make it in a bad situation, but the analytics says he should. Whether it's the first quarter, the third quarter, second quarter, whatever, he does it at the right time. Oh, you don't trust Rod Moore on Nelly? I don't trust him either. I have seen it, Chantel. I looked at your profile because I'm an admin on most of these pages. I look at everybody's profile before they join. And kudos to the Packers fans. You got your wish. Joe Barry was fired yesterday. We've been telling Packer fans for 3 straight years how bad Joe Barry was when they hired him. Will Vogel says, morning, sir. Good to see you this morning. Last night was my NFL roundtable talk. It was a lot of fun. Frustrating, but fun. I don't know. He didn't show up this morning. I'm a little upset, but I got this. I can do this on my own. I can do that with a co-host. It's what I do, man. But it's time for me to pay the bills. The first one, everybody's favorite. It's FTP. Put it in the chat what FTP stands for. You all know it. It's what we've been telling them all season. They weren't winning the division. Much better. I sent in you, crowd. I bet you should. Because we are the NFC North champions. Right there. As much as anybody in the North hates it, they always keep saying, oh, you'll be one and done. Oh, you'll be 2 and done. We're in the NFC fucking championship, fuckers. Henry Graves got me an FTP. Will Vogels gave an actual fuck the Packers. Pay mine then. What a great season it's been. Whether it continues, and I actually think it will. Can you guys imagine what downtown Detroit will be if we're going to the Super Bowl? My God, I hope it doesn't go like Ann Arbor and Lansing. Ann Arbor wins the national championship. Those guys went stupid and tore down street lamps and everything else. What's up with all these talks that Ben Johnson going to Washington Commanders as head coach? He's favored not only by the staff there, and Magic Johnson has came out publicly and said that's his target, that's who he's focusing on. It's pretty big. Um, and you can't pay an offensive coordinator like a head coach. There is a pool of money that's available for coaching staffs. So more than likely, we will be losing Ben Johnson. Deontay Lee Keys Sr. says we are going to beat the 49ers Sunday and go to the Super Bowl. I would rather be in Detroit during the Super Bowl than be in Vegas the Super Bowl. No, I get that. You know what? I want to be in Vegas at the Super Bowl, but I much rather would be on Woodward Avenue when they get home. All I've heard is he's practiced full practice every day. He was activated last year week. They sat him out. Why? As a healthy scratch? I don't know, but odds are he's playing this week. That's all I can hear is that he's looking good. I've seen in other Lions, Bears, and Vikings fans are terrified of who our next DC will be. Well, until we see who it is, we don't know who it'll be. I don't know if you watched him. Um, but Sam Howell was a good to great quarterback this year. He put up top 15 stats and missed 4 games. So they have a quarterback. Sarah, good to see you. Been missing you. I hope your recovery has been fine since the accident. Uh, how's the couch been for the Vikings and the Bears and the Packers? I just want to know 'cause y'all all sitting at home and we're in the NFC Championship. Woo! I'm bringing that fire today. Aiden Powell, Jeremy, our cousin went to Iowa for college and play football there. Now he went to his dream to the NFL and the Lions. His name, come on, people. You guys move so fast, I can't even keep a comment up while I'm trying to read it. He named Jack Cam. He's named Jack Campbell. I'm so confident the Detroit Lions will win this game coming up in the Super Bowl. I'm crazy about Jack. He is on my phone wallpaper, and I have Detroit Lions room, Jack, and have best friend Sam Laporta. That's awesome. And Sarah says the couch is warm and comfortable. I love it. She embraces it. I'd love Rex Ryan in Detroit. Um, Earl Jackson, don't give Homer takes when you don't have the stats to back it up. Sam Howell played top 15 level in the NFL. He played better than two playoff quarterbacks this season. Oh, Chantel Brooks says both them coaches are cute and you are too. Oh, Sarah says we should get Patricia as our new DC. I think you should too. That will guarantee the Lions and every team in the division 2 wins a year. Guaranteed. I'm not talking fantasy football because that don't count. He was top 5 in quarterback stats or top 15. It's Sarah Zongo. See, Jeremy agrees. Yeah, because we're intelligent, Sarah. We would love for them to get Matt Patricia with that bend but breaks quicker than a levee. See, I need to stop coming on these podcasts. Well, think about it. Since Patricia took over the Eagles, what did they do? They went 1-6 and got bounced in the first round of the playoffs. Oh, it's okay, Steve. We love you. You're a great fan. Do you know that Glenn becoming a head coach for the Lions? Nope, it's not happening. Dan Campbell just won NFC Coach of the Year, and I don't think Cousins is coming back either. They don't have the salary cap to make a move to keep Cousins. I think, yeah, the Eagles are getting Vic Fangio. That makes me sick because they're going to be much better next year. They lost Steve Steichen, they lost Nick Sirianni, and now they get that guy. No, Kirk Cousins isn't coming back. And the smart thing for them with that last year on the contract, Tito D. Murkison I got you. Cool. I'll follow you back shortly. But you know who the Vikings are sticking with their franchise QB, Nick Mullins. Rumor is he might be heading to Atlanta. Um, I heard a different rumor, and I'm not going to say it until I see the results of the game Sunday, and it might make a lot of sense to people. It's not worth kicking the can down the road for Cousins. You're absolutely right, Sarah. Um, as much I hate to say it, you kind of have to. You're good defensively, and Deontay Lee Keys is senior. Dan Campbell is not going anywhere anytime soon. As a matter of fact, AG will be a head coach, but it won't be for the Lions. He's probably getting picked up by somebody. When will we see Hendon? Next preseason. That's what I'm waiting for. I love it. I can't wait to see him on the field. Um, when I kick a can down the road, I get asked if I'm moving. Hey, you must have as many belongings as I do, Steve. Well, this has been a great talk this morning. I'm going to give a shout out to my other sponsor real quick. That is Gloss Negron, best window tinner in the Tri Cities, voted #1 in Saginaw. That is platinum level according to the Chamber of Commerce and everybody that voted. 989-443-9240. Give him a call. Follow him on Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram, where you can see his work being done. Just like that Chrysler 300M class, I actually was working for that tire shop when it was done. 6 more comments up here. Let's go see. I have prediction for the Super Bowl game. I have Kansas versus Lions. That's where I'm at. And Harbaugh heads to the Chargers with Herbert. Hey, all I know is they got a better head coach than Brandon Staley, and that's not saying much. They probably could have brought Chip Kelly out of college, and he'd have been better than Brandon Staley. Chantel Brooks says, "Hey, Jeremy, I have a brother named Jeremy." Uh, Falcons are not hiring a Johnson. It's Washington that's hiring Johnson. Um, let me go look at that. I put it in a chat, one of my show chats that I was talking in. I copied everything. I'll give you the rumors that are out there. Dan Quinn to Seattle. We all knew that was coming. He's hitting his second interview today. Cleveland Browns did hire Deuce Staley as their running back coach yesterday. Um, Dave Canales is favorite to land with the Panthers. Mike Vrabel is favored to land with Atlanta, and Ben Johnson is favored to land with Washington. No, that's just the favorites right now. If the NFL let Kansas City Chiefs win Super Bowl, it's rigged, fixed. We need to stop watching football. Cream Johnson agrees. AG will be back. Ben has gone to Washington. No, I think there is still 2 coaching jobs that have to be filled. Yep, it's a done deal. Vic Fangio was signed. So that's your new DC of the Philadelphia Eagles. It's sad no one wants the Panthers, but they're hiring Dave Canales. I don't even know who the hell that is. But I got to get going because Russ and Mike are coming up next. They got their little Thursday gig going. Thank you very much. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. It's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts within here. Much love to everybody who's been here. Fred, Sarah, Steve is real. Yeah. Wish Johnson will stay with us. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's only such a pool of money for the coaches, and you can't pay an offensive coordinator like a head coach gets paid. So unless he declines the offer, Ben Johnson's gone. It's not so much ticket sales. AG is a who's coaching Seattle. Looks like a good. Again, I just said that. Damn it! Now I got to scroll all the way back up again. Dave Canales is the Tampa OC. Right. Okay. I just didn't know who he was. Dan Quinn is probably who's going to Seattle. Mike Vrabel is the favorite to land in Atlanta. Dave Canales is favorite to land with Carolina, and Ben Johnson is favored to land with Washington. Pete Carroll retired. Steve, he retired. He turned down the advisor role for Seattle, and he was offered an interview with the Chargers. He was also offered an interview with the Titans, and he was offered an interview with the Panthers, and he turned them all down. Not like I blame him. Why would you want to go from a possible playoff team to a dumpster fire? And I'm sorry, the Titans are a dumpster fire. All they had to do is beat the Texans, and they were in the playoffs. But have a great day, everybody, and go enjoy Russ and Mike's show. That's coming up next. Football talk with Russell Wayne. Have a great day.